Hi everyone, today I'd like to talk about the dangers of reforms and revolutions. So, over the course of history, a lot of reforms and revolutions have led to a lot of conflicts and suffering. But it's not because it led to that it's always, that it means that it will have been always preferable to not do them. Because some of those reforms were absolutely necessary. So it's still important to think about the risks of making a certain reform at the time that we want to make it. Because sometimes it's going to lead to way too much conflict. Way too much conflict, like, that is simply unnecessary. So it's important, I think, to look back at history and to question ourselves when we want to make some reforms today. Well, one example that I can give is in around the 15th or 16th century, when Martin Luther made some religious reforms that were reasonable and necessary. And this led to a lot of conflicts and even millions of deaths all over Europe. I'm pretty sure that Luther didn't expect that to happen whatsoever. So sometimes we could be very surprised and just simply not see what could be coming ahead of us. So I think that this is a good example to help us to question things, before making some of those reforms. And I also want to mention that all of those people that suffered were simply killed through those religious wars at the time. Obviously they were not choosing their beliefs, which led to all of this. So hopefully in the future, when humans will understand that they cannot choose their beliefs, and that sometimes they're going to feel offended by some certain views, it's going to help them question that, since they're going to realize that they're not choosing to feel hatred too, no matter what they feel. This will help and prevent some conflicts from happening, at least some violent ones. So personally, like I said, this is a dilemma that I have, because I have a lot of reforms and revolutions to make in the future. So I think a lot about it, because it seems like, especially with the current pandemic and some conflicts that are currently happening in the world, especially in the United States, it seems like at least some of the reforms that I want to make will probably not be reasonable to do right now. They just kind of feel a little bit out of place and not a priority. But there's still a part of me that wants to reveal a lot of those ideas right away, because, well, I'm frustrated, and also because I think that while some of those ideas won't be understood at first, I have so many of them that I think that a lot of people will at least understand some of them, which will give me a lot more credibility, a well-needed credibility, So I'm still hesitating. I'm not sure what I'm going to do, depending on what happens. But I think that it's definitely not a good idea to do too many reforms at the same time. It can be very dangerous. But we'll see. Listen, depending on what is going to happen at any given moment, I may reevaluate. There's some of my reforms that I will want to reveal right away, and there's others that I will like to reveal, for example, last year or in a couple years. So we'll see. Obviously, one of those big reforms is related to religion. So, like you very well know, billions of people today are still religious. And I possess some of the best arguments in history against the veracity of a lot of religions, especially Abrahamic religions. So this is something that is obviously going to create a lot of frustration and hatred in the world. And while some of my arguments are extremely, they're supposed to be extremely easy to understand, humans are so blind that I still have to expect a lot of people to not easily understand that. It's also about cognitive dissonance. So, natural defense mechanism. So a lot of people that co-understand that will keep their faith to protect their beliefs. It's the brain that in reality tries to protect itself from experiencing suffering, delusions. Like, that's just the way it is. So even some highly intelligent people can retain their faith because of that, even if it's supposed to be obvious that they're wrong. The problem is that it is easier to do some of those reforms in some countries than others. I think that some countries are not ready whatsoever. And since there's still a lot of people in those countries that have access to information through television or the internet or in another way, that I try to speak about some of those ideas here in the West, well, they're still going to hear those things, okay? Which can be both positive and negative. So I have to assume that I'd say up to hundreds of millions of people will be filled with hatred, which is very dangerous. And especially in some Islamic countries. I think that it could be very risky, and there's probably a lot of people that could come out in the streets. We could probably see some riots, and we will have to find a way to contain those people. And obviously, my life will be at stake. But I fully accept that. I have a pretty good idea what's coming, and unfortunately, that's just the way it is. So I will have to live like that in the future. Some people, well, a certain amount of people want me dead, but some people will also probably try to kill me. So I will have to live with this possibility probably almost every day. So I will have more paranoia, I guess. But it's not going to stop me. Okay. I will never give up. I will definitely. This is definitely not something that is going to do anything to stop me, because I know what I have to do, and I understand the importance of what I have to accomplish in this world. So obviously it's not going to be easy, especially with my health issues right now. And I also expect some people that are great human beings with beautiful values to not understand some of my ideas at first, and even think that some of the things that I will do are just plain wrong, like morally wrong. And that's extremely frustrating. Okay, and this is all because of human unconsciousness. And a lot of people in history, well, that tried to make some reforms or revolutions have been through that. And I'll be next. So I think that I have to inspire myself from some of those people in history to keep going and never give up. So yeah, sure, it's definitely not going to be easy, and I also feel terribly alone right now, so I don't have any support, and hopefully I have to find some support pretty quick, because well, depending on what I do and say, it could even become more dangerous for me. So I think that we will have to evaluate what is going to happen in all countries. And I'm also planning on testing people, populations, nations, to see how far I could go to make them accept some of my reforms. I am planning on trying to push a little bit. And if I see that it becomes too dangerous, maybe I could pull back. But I am definitely not scared of doing that. I definitely have the courage to stand to a lot of people to try to make things go much faster, because I think that politicians these days are way too slow, and we have to speed things out here. This is just, to me, it's not just about making some progress, is to make progress as fast as possible, if reasonably preferable. If I think that it could be preferable to do it, I think that we have to do it, and I am willing. You could say that I have the balls to do it. So obviously, like I said, we will have to carefully monitor everything that is going to happen in all countries at any given moment. We will need some people to focus on that. And we will have to adjust ourselves depending on what happens. And it's going to be important to try to not create too many instabilities. Also, economic ones. And that's very problematic right now with the current pandemic. So it makes me think that obviously some of the things that I want to do are simply not appropriate right now. But it's still going to be evaluated, because I'm pretty sure that when I'm going to be out there, I am going to constantly feel frustration. Like, you are going to make me freaking sick. And it's both positive and negative, so who knows where this could go, really. And I could start to get frustrated and reveal certain things that I shouldn't reveal right now. I wouldn't be surprised if it happens. So again, we'll have to deal with it. We'll have to find a way. But I think that some of the reforms and revolutions that I want to do absolutely have to happen at some point. It is absolutely necessary for humanity. And I think that it's important to be, and I am, optimistic about the future. I think that we have to look ahead with hope and realize that, yes, while some conflicts will occur and maybe some regressions, progress will also happen. It has always happened. Humanity has been through some terrible things in history. And it will go through some again. And I am very confident that we will be able to get through it. So hopefully, a lot of you people will support me in my quest for making this world a better place. So thanks for watching, and see you in another video.